welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This midweek episode will be going over the forums once again. The forums are just a great place to find certain things. They are really a shit show, I'm not going to lie. And some of the things that I've seen on here are crazy. They're not long enough to talk about, but they are very entertaining. I would recommend hopping on them because people like to complain about anything on here, and it's kind of great. It's kind of great to just see and read the whole thread of people just shit talking each other. But that's besides the point. Welcome to the new year. This is the first episode of the new year, so I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, etc. But let's get straight into it. So the first one that I have for you is, can we bring back the Proving Grounds, but for PvP basics? Now, this one caught my interest because I think that anything to do with an introductory in the end game of World of Warcraft is very good, such as an introductory to Mythic Dungeons or an introductory to PvP. Anything like that can enhance the game. So let's see what they actually have to say about it. So would be nice to know that members of my team have a basic understanding of things instead of not using CDs, counterspelling, losing or LOSing, DRs, using utility, etc. Rated Solo Shuffle is making it abruptly clear that most players have no clue what any of this stuff is, and if they want to get better, they need to understand these things, and chances are quite high, and that PvE Andy that understands his rotation well enough in PvE in some form, but doesn't have a clue about anything else. But as long as Andy is on his DH, DK, Arms Warrior, whatever he can do is at least okay. Okay, firstly, Solo Shuffle will eventually put you in the right rating. If you're very new to WoW, your first couple games might be a bit rough, but then it will get you down to that rating that it thinks that you are. It just takes a few games. It's a bit unfortunate because it does start you on the higher end, whereas I think it should be a little bit lower, maybe like 1200 you start off rating-wise, because I think it's something like 15 or 1600, just in case you are a new player and stuff. But again, I think that's just a very small tweak. I do kind of understand that some people aren't great when they first step into a solo shuffle. It's like, oh my god, what is everyone doing? If they've only played one character their entire WoW life, essentially, they've only played Retribution Paladin, they have no idea what the other classes do at this point. It's like, oh my god, why am I getting death gripped around the map? Why am I stunned here? Why did that guy just fly off using a gateway? How can I use this gateway? Oh, I can't because I'm not on the same team, or I can now because I'm on the same team. There's many different things that you've got to learn, and I think that a Proving Ground would be good in this instance, but you said nothing about a Proving Ground right now, so let's see. Could really have some simple PvP scenarios that utilize bots that teach people enough that they're going into PvP completely blind. With no understanding of game mechanics, explain these concepts in simple terms. I have them pass some simple tests and have them have completed an X amount of games with bots before they can play with other people. I think that WoW will eventually get to this because they are introducing the bots into the dungeons, which is really good. So I do kind of understand. I think that there should be a somewhat tutorial on PvP. I think it should be very much open, but I think that if people wanted to do the tutorial, they can. If people don't, then they don't have to. I think the tutorial should include such things like, this is a defensive. This is ideally not what you want to use your damage into, and you want to switch targets depending on the circumstances. Or this is a utility thing, such as a demonic gateway, or show some abilities that people can use to kite or to grip you in or heal themselves, stuff like that. And then go over the basics like CC, like he is saying. Diminishing returns is a bit more of a later on thing that you worry about, especially if you're on a certain class like a warrior or a paladin, because you will never not diminish returns, or most likely you won't. Whereas if you're a rogue, you kind of need to know, so maybe you do specific stuff for rogues, something like that. Dispelling for healers is definitely one, and then maybe positioning. So you can have like a pillar in the middle of the room, and if they're casting a cow spell on you, you just dip, or like a fear, you just dip behind the pillar and line of sight it. Simple, very simple stuff like that, but really help out the player in this instance. Wishful thinking, I guess, but I doubt anything like this will ever come from Blizzard, as they want everything to be accessible to some degree. They did it for heroic dungeons in Mob, and I feel like it did some good for newer players to understand game mechanics, but nothing has really been done since. That is very true. Nothing really has been done since, and the Proving Grounds were very good, in my opinion. They were very good for learning your damage, learning your healing, learning your tank stuff, and practicing your character overall. And I think that it is a very good way of doing so, but the Proving Grounds needs to be updated, because you can just hit a training dummy and learn your rotations, can't you? At this point, you can hit a training dummy and learn your defensive abilities, because training dummies can fight back now. Some of them can, like the tanking one and stuff like that. So you can practice how durable your character is if you're a DPS or a healer, stuff like that. But yeah, I think the Proving Grounds do need a little bit of a rework, and use it as like a tutorial ground for PvE and PvP. PvP can definitely give you line of sight tutorials, give you counterspelling, give you dispelling, and like this guy says, utility stuff. So your kiting ability, such as Demonic Circle or your Cavalier or anything like that, I think would be a real improvement. And you don't have to force them into this tutorial. You can, once they hit level 70, there is a lot actually that they give you. Maybe on the like menu of the PvP screen, if you're a newer player who's never done any sort of PvP, it gives you the option, and it's like, oh, the Proving Grounds would be a great place to learn PvP, learn like what goes on in it. Maybe that you give them that option instead of just signing up for a solo shuffle or something like that. But again, you have random battlegrounds, you have random arenas, you have brawls. All of these are very much not rated, and these are very much where you can learn your character, learn your class, because some people might not enjoy going against PvE, like just bots and stuff, and going for a very slow tutorial. Some people might just enjoy going into the shit show that is World of Warcraft PvP and figuring it out for themselves during that time period, like when they're in the brawls and stuff. So who knows? It's certainly a good idea, in my honest opinion, but it'll be very tough to implement without people feeling like they're being herded like cattle, or newer players towards this like tutorial, essentially, when they've hit max level, that kind of deal. The next one I want to talk about is, this one is hilarious. I saw this and I just had to disagree with it. Precog needs to go and change to a baseline disarm for casters. Love playing a melee class and then get into a game with a caster and can't kick, CC, or do anything to stop it, and then get mutilated by their burst. Kind of stupid if you ask me. This new team of devs don't know what they're doing. Excuse me, with PvP at all, and the game is trash. Instead of saying screw it, next expansion coming, actually do what you... Oh my god, this guy has no like sentence structure at all. Saying screw it, next expansion coming, actually do what you were hired to do, and what we pay y'all to do, and actually listen and care for the game instead of the money, and just sit on y'all's behinds and laugh about it and make videos for grown adults at a job to steal money. Personally, if I worked at Blizz, I would bust my behind to fix everything wrong with PvP and balance classes and make PvP fun again. But we all know PvP will never be fun again. Okay, this guy's sentence structure is absolutely awful. I read this the first time and didn't think it was that bad. But no, it is really bad. Okay, firstly, love playing a melee class and then get into a game with a caster and can't kick, CC, or do anything to stop it. Firstly, precog is only procced if you miss your kick. So, if a caster is actively juking your kicks, he has sacrificed the actual cast itself in order to like juke the kick. So he has given up however long the cast is, 1.2, 1.3 seconds, to try and juke the kick. You don't kick, he's got no benefit out of it, and he will try and juke the kick again. So it's 2.6 seconds, and again, misses. So, like, he may as well just casted the clone in the first place. He's missed a second, 1.1 seconds, not casting that clone, etc. If you miss the kick, that is a skill issue. That is a skill issue on your part. You have control of when you press your kick, and the ranged have to just try and juke it. You can learn patterns from how people juke their kicks. So, do they tend to cast and then immediately stop, like casting? Or do they cast and then stop near the end of casting? Or do they just fully cast? They don't actually try and juke at all. You know, you've got to pick up this pattern during the game, and it's very simple to do. And the role is reversed for casters. If you're noticing a warrior kick very quickly, then juke very quickly, like start casting, immediately stop. If you'll notice that they are kicking late, you start casting, wait until the later part of your spell, and then you juke. You know, that kind of deal. So it's a skill issue, firstly. Now, if you're kicking just for the hell of it and giving them precog, then that is a real skill issue, and that's on you, because that's stupid to do, because if they're not casting anything, then you shouldn't even be kicking. Secondly, this person is a Death Knight. What can Death Knights do? Okay, many different things. They have the kick, yes, but they also have a Death Grip, which can stop casting. You just move them 2 feet. They have a Silence that doesn't need to kick, that won't give... These things won't give them precog, by the way, even if they mistime it and use it when they're not casting. So, a Silence, a Death Grip, there's something else. A Blind, any form of CC, stuns, blinds, all of that stuff. All of that, they have, from my recollection, about 4 other ways to stop it. 3 or 4. They have the blind, the strangulate, the death grip, and an actual stun if they take, like, asphyxiate and stuff like that. So they have 3 to 4 ways, potentially more. I can't recall other Death Knight abilities off the top of my head, but you have multiple ways to stop it without even kicking. And good Death Knights will utilise this. I did take the opportunity to look at this guy, and I did check PvP him. I can see why he's not a fan of precog, is the best way to say this. He's on the lower rated side of things in PvP. I will say that. So, ultimately, it is kind of... I think I'm being a dick by saying it. It is a skill issue, because it's ridiculous. I've had people in battlegrounds, just like normal battlegrounds, like I piss around and join battlegrounds and just have some fun in my class, but they kick me for no reason. I'm not even casting, and they need to get out of the habit of it, and that is a good way to punish them for it. And the thing is, if you've managed to actually successfully juke a kick as a caster, you are rewarded for it, rather than, oh, okay, I juked one kick from one melee, but now I've got the other melee to go through. And it's like, okay, well, I've juked that kick now, but now their Resto Shaman's got a kick that I've got to get through, or a grounding totem, or anything like that. There is a lot of ways to stop casting. There is a lot. The precog is a reward for juking the kick. It's not something that is given to you. You have to earn it in an arena. In higher rated arenas, you really have to earn the precog. That's the thing. Even then, if you have precog, there's stuff to stop stuff. Like, Resto Shamans have Grounding Totem. Anti-Magic Shell can be used to stop any form of, like, CC on you. Any form of, like, spells being added, dots applied. So, a Disarm I can't apply if you use Anti-Magic Shell. I can't use Cyclone on you if you use Anti-Magic Shell. Spell Reflect is also another way to prolong, like, you not getting CC'd. There are many different forms that can stop casting. But it isn't because you're giving someone precog that you're destined to end up in CC or get bursted down. It's a skill issue that you've missed that kick, or just pressed it for no reason, and have given that person precog. It's so stupid. This argument is so ridiculous that I can't even fathom, like, where they're coming from. The only thing is, it's because they can't land the kick. That's it, or they're kicking into nothing, and that's on them. That's not on the caster, that's on them. And they have to get over it and just play better. That's the best way to just, like, say it, essentially. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. As always, do check out the latest stuff on the social medias, such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, constant stuff happening over there. But thank you all very much for listening, and go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.